voice. Spent the last 6 months in Century City, where even losers get lucky. So this is how the world has changed. So this is how the world has changed. I wanna be haunted by Tom Petty, 'cause I was born a rebel too. Put the music down where my head is at, and don't be afraid of the backlash. I'm in there for the long haul. Yeah, I'm in there for the long haul. I wanna be haunted by Tom Petty. 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 He can bring George and Roy along. Call up Jeff and Bob, sing some Wilbury tunes, waltzing around the room all night. It's pure and it's real. It moves, it heals. I wanna be haunted by Tom Petty, out among where wildflowers grow, by a house in the woods, cabin below. Like he said, music is probably the only real magic I've encountered in my life. I wanna be haunted by Tom Petty. 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 I wanna be haunted I wanna be haunted by Tom Petty.
Thank you for dropping in to Tea Time with J and J. I'm JJ Pershing Francis. My co-host Jocelyn Goins is handling real estate business today. We'll check in with her next week, but we want to shout her out. What's good, Jocelyn? Drive safely, sell some houses, make some deals.
Make good choices.
Make good choices. Mark your calendars and stay tuned for details on our November 7th 24-hour live broadcast event to raise awareness and funding for Radio KCM. During our live coverage, the public can showcase their talents, whether it be stories, songs, skits, cooking, dancing, anything they love. Participants will ask friends and family to pledge a nominal donation in support of their airtime, and area businesses can sponsor portions of programming as well. All donations are tax deductible and will help nonprofit Knoxville Community Media continue its 50-year mission of providing a platform for free thought, expression, and speech through public, educational, and government programming. Stay tuned to radiokcm.com and on our socials for more info. Joining us on Tea Time with J and J today is Becki Grace Livingston, a woman who knows her way around both sides of the mic, musician, songwriter, performer, radio host, and podcaster, shining a light on East Tennessee's women in music, and she's also a mental health professional, blending compassion with curiosity. She's an enigma. She contains multitudes. She's bringing new songs today and playing new songs by the Brook this Thursday, the 21st. Let's welcome to Tea Time the storyteller, the connector, and the all-natural conversationalist, Becki Grace Livingston.
Wow. I thought it sounded a little bit like one of Wayne Bledsoe's glam ups or glow ups.
Fancy. Well, it's a fancy intro.
You're not the first person to describe me as an enigma, and I don't know what that's about because I don't even get it.
Layers and layers, right? I can't be an enigma. I never even use that word, right?
I love that word. It makes me think of Batman.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Mornings are hard, but I'm good. I'm awake. I've been awake for a couple of hours. Doesn't look like it.
It does. You look bright and shiny. You look like you've gotten some sun. You got a nice tan going.
Yeah.
Time at the pool.
Out at the pool or kayaking.
How long have you been kayaking?
I got my boat 3 years ago, so this is my 4th summer with it.
Where do you go?
That's part of my conundrum is I don't know where to go. So I've been on the Tennessee River and done the Holston, and I'm actually doing that with some girlfriends next weekend. And then I've been out to Cityco, 129 out to Cherokee Lake. And, I've even put in on Old Knoxville Highway right at the county line, at Naughty Cays. There's a boat ramp there, where the original Sweet Peas used to be. And, I've put in right there and years ago, I borrowed somebody's kayak and I went down there and I went to the right and under the bridge and off past some houses and stuff. And I got uncomfortable because it was a sit on top and I was by myself and I didn't know what I was doing. So I had appropriate fear. This time I put in and went to the left, which opens out to the lake. And I just kind of hugged the left shore and stayed that on the little river right there kind of spills in. So paddled up a ways, and I'll probably just keep paddling sections of the little river until I've seen everything I want to see. But I just want to see what it looks like from that side.
That's pretty. And it's a good workout.
Oh my God, yeah. That paddle that I was just describing from Naughty Cays to the Co-op Road boat ramp, which is also on Old Knoxville Highway, took either 4 or 5 hours. I'm not sure because I didn't look to see what time I started, but it was 4 or 5 hours. It was a long paddle on a day when it was nothing but sun and 92 degrees. And
oh my God,
I had all my stuff. I was fine. I have all the gear and was the only part was by the end I had heat exhaustion and was getting nauseous and getting cold and clammy, which is never a good thing. And I had to lay down in the shade and just kind of calm my breathing and try and settle my tummy. And then when I'd get up, I'd get dizzy and I'd try and get some stuff out of the kayak and put it in the car. And then I'd get in the car and turn it full blast air conditioning right in my face. And then I'd feel a little bit better. So I'd get out. And it took me about 45 minutes to load my gear and my kayak back onto my car just to drive 5 minutes home.
What does the gear entail? And then you said you've got a sit on top versus
I have a sit-in.
Or a sit-in. Okay.
Because I borrowed a friend's sit on top and it didn't feel stable. I didn't like it.
You felt like you would tip over in the water.
Yeah.
I feel like I would tip over in the water. I feel like I would tip over in the water with a sit-in.
You wouldn't.
Okay.
The way it's structured.
The way it's like aerodynamically
if you
created
threw
or
your
whatever.
body off one side, yeah, you're going to tip it and you're going to end up wet. But no, it's very comfortable. You actually kind of use your knees on the sidewalls for bracing, for balancing.
Okay.
And that does a lot of the work. And the way my foot pedals kind of prop up my legs, prop up my knees, I can kind of do that with my lower body, and my upper body just focus on paddling.
Okay. How long is a paddle?
I don't know, 7 feet. I forget. It's in centimeters, and I don't remember how many centimeters. 100. I don't know.
But it also kind of helps you balance. Turn, obviously, but sort of.
Turn, yes. Balance, not really. I mean, you can put your paddle in the water and balance yourself that way. To put your paddle flat on the water and kind of use it almost like a little table for just a second. It works like that.
I've never kayaked, so
I recommend people who are interested but have never kayaked or paddleboard or canoed. River Sports Outfitters has a site, outpost at the Cove in Farragut and at Meads Quarry in Iams. And so they have the gear. You can rent it. They'll show you how to use it. You get your life vest and your paddle and everything you need, and then you bring whatever your stuff is with you. And so that's an option for people who don't have their own gear to get some experience and find out if that's something they really want to do.
Right. I at least want to try it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get another kayak just so I can take some friends with me who don't have kayaks. But I think I want to get a sit on top. I just got to get the right one.
Okay.
So I have both because they have different purposes.
What are the drawbacks or what are the pros for having a sit on top versus a sit in?
I don't know. That's why I want both.
Okay. So you can try them out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the one I have. That's my number one girl right there.
But being out in the water, I love fishing, right? I love being out on a boat. I love water that way. I don't really like to be in the water.
I love sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually used to stop. My sister and I used to, when Pellissippi Parkway was just built, so this is like 1997, 1998. There was nobody on it. Nobody used it. And my dad worked at Oak Ridge from Blount County, so that was like cut 45 minutes off his drive instead of having to go all the way around Knoxville to get to Oak Ridge. So he was driving Pellissippi before it was paved, which he should not have been doing. But maybe not before it was paved, maybe just before it was open, but it was full road. But anyway, he was doing something he shouldn't have. Well, my sister and I would stop at the bridge at the county line. And it's a really pretty place to watch the sunset with the water and the trees off, and there's kind of a bend in the water there, and it's just gorgeous. And you got this broad open view. And so my sister used to go there. My sister and I used to stop there and watch the sunset and sit on the wall and kind of dangle our feet. And so she got married. She moved away. And years later, I was missing her. And so I just went and sat on the bridge, parked my car, kind of got off, as close to the wall as I could, and then pulled a blanket out and put it on the wall and was sitting there. And like 3 cop cars rolled up. And I'm like, hi, am I doing something wrong?
They thought you were going to jump.
They thought I was going to jump. They had a whole bunch of calls from people passing by who thought I was about to jump. And so they were like, can you get down first? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, be careful. Do you need help? And I'm like, no, I got up here. I can get down. I got myself into this mess. And they were like, yeah, you can't do that. This is an interstate, and it's actually illegal to stop on the side unless it's an emergency. And I was like, okay, I'll never do it again. Please don't give me a ticket. And I haven't ever done that since. But it is a really pretty place to catch the sunset if you're driving by.
Yes. Yes. It's a pretty drive. I used to...
Parts of it.
I used to get I have had bouts throughout my adulthood with driving anxiety on the interstate.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of driving anxiety.
I don't know what it is when it's by myself. If I have other people with me, if I'm driving other people, I'm, 10 and 2, like whatever, all the things, safe driver. But when I get by myself, I don't know, on certain interstates, especially busy interstates, trucks, all around me, whatever, guardrails on one side, a semi on the other. I mean, it's a panic attack city. So when I was seeing my longtime therapist, that was one of the issues we were tackling. And we would get up Sunday mornings and she would either drive with me or she'd follow me in her car, and we would drive down Pellissippi Parkway. Because it wasn't I-40, it wasn't Monday morning traffic. It was just a nice jaunt to get me back on the interstate.
Yeah.
And
we call that exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy. And so yeah, it was helpful. It was helpful. But now
It is.
These days. But yes, I love taking the country road. I mean, I love the back roads. I've always been a back roads sort of country road sort of girl.
100% fine driving as long as there aren't stupid people on the road. And I'm going to have to leave the state to get away from that.
I think it's in every state.
No, New Jersey is better than this. Atlanta is better than this. Come on. It's just gotten stupid. You got a mile line everywhere you go.
Yeah.
In traffic just to get through a red light or stop sign. I mean, it's just... It blew up a little too much without the infrastructure there to support it.
That's exactly right.
And that's what Knoxville's MO is. We do everything wrong the first time and screw it up really, really, really good. And then somebody comes in and tries to fix it, and everybody gets mad because they don't like change, even though they hate the way that it is.
Right. Knoxville is growing exponentially faster than Nashville.
Most other cities in the country.
Yes. We're on
10.
the top 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Denver is another one that continues to just, it's got the urban sprawl going. Mm-hmm. But same sort of issues, not necessarily the infrastructure or the space to accommodate all of the vehicles of all of the people that are moving there.
You can't create the jobs until there are houses for the people to live in.
Right.
There aren't houses for people to live in here.
And that's why the housing market has just blown up, and houses in Denver, the average house, is $500,000 or $600,000 type thing.
My home has tripled,
but one
value
thing
since I bought it.
I know. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But and you think, wow, I've got all this equity in my home now, but you can't sell it and move someplace else. At least not in Knoxville.
Not in Knoxville,
because you'd
you
be
can
paying
find somewhere with a cheaper cost of living and lower taxes,
like Vermont
or New York or Maine or New Hampshire or Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota. Are you seeing the pattern?
Exactly.
Those are reasonable places to live. Cost-wise.
But the Rocky Mountain National Park has a wait list. You have to make an appointment to go to the national park. Like how we can just drive up to Gatlinburg or whatever, go into the park, take a hike or whatever. You can't just do that these days in Colorado. You have to get on the website
that way here
and make an appointment
because they don't have enough staff. We didn't have enough staff before, and now they have less.
Mm-hmm.
And so
to accommodate that many people,
we could very, very, very well see that here. We're already having to pay for parking where we never had to pay for parking before, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because we have people parking where they're not supposed to be and damaging the environment that they're supposed to love. But yeah, they could control the numbers coming in and the numbers going out. If it comes to it, they probably will.
Right. And then it occurred to me when you were telling me that story about so two things occurred to me. Do you have a Substack?
No.
Okay. I just created a Substack account, like literally just created my login. I don't even have a profile picture up, but so Substack is all like the new thing where people go and write their epistles about whatever, or poems, or
Blogs.
type thing. Just whatever, creative writing, whatever. That's not mired necessarily yet in all of the political junk and just like all of
bots
the
and scams and
advertising and stuff. But it will be soon. We already see it go in that direction.
Sure. Capitalism.
But so deciding, I love Substack in that Jennifer Jane Nicely has a real nice one and has a lot of writing on there. And she's a beautiful writer. She's a beautiful songwriter, as are you. And so I was thinking, I wonder if you had one, because I think that's another great, whenever you have the time. I mean, I'm sure you've got just multitudes of free to start a new social media platform, for crying in a bucket. I mean, I don't know how you find the time to do as much as you do. But it occurred to me, and we'll round back to that in a second, but it occurred to me as when we're talking about crazy drivers, that so much of our county lacks sidewalks. And I understand the country sort of vibe. And I mean, even new subdivisions that we're building that are going up don't have sidewalks. And it's like, okay, like I get this sort of, we're kind of out in the cut, or it's hilly, or maybe just for, the price of concrete versus the use that the sidewalks might get, it's not necessarily feasible. Okay. But there are some of these roads, Chapman Highway, I mean, all the main thoroughfares, but Rifle, especially in North Knoxville. We live in North Knoxville, Washington Pike.
Especially South Knoxville. I almost hit a man on Chapman Highway last week because I didn't see him. He was walking between cars across the intersection, or across the road where there was not an intersection. He was not wearing anything that made him stand out, and I probably came within 10 feet of hitting him. And that would have, I don't know how I would have lived with that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing anything wrong.
Well, and not just and so Rifle Range and Parkdale and some of these others where it's super curvy. It's supposed to be 30 miles per hour. Nobody drives 30 miles per hour. And these homeowners are out there risking life and limb to trim the edges of their lawns.
Or exercise.
A
normal
for crying in a
person
bucket.
wants to just go walk through their neighborhood.
Or just walk their dog, or just take a walk or whatever. Yeah. And that's just, it's not feasible at all. And I think
we didn't build that society because we don't want that society. If we really wanted it, that's what we would build. That's what we would spend our money on. That's what other countries do.
Well, and then this latest news that I heard from one of our county commissioners, wanting to do away with the wheel tax, right? Have you heard that?
What's the wheel tax paying for?
Well, good question, right?
We're always told every time there's a tax that it's for schools and roads, and our schools and roads are shit. So where's my money?
And that was the thing. So somebody's Substack. It was probably Bill Foster's or somebody. But talking about the wheel tax, I always thought, because it was called the wheel tax, that it was for our roads, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not. It's actually the city is responsible the city's funding is responsible for roadways and, infrastructure type things and so on and so forth. And this wheel tax is evidently supposed to be going to other sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Well, the plan is to, and I don't know if it's a campaign, you know what I mean? Are you looking it up?
I'm looking up road conditions. We're number 7 in road quality, 32 in best states overall, 23 in infrastructure, 19 in transportation.
What is wheel tax for? Let's look this up. Wheel tax is actually a motor vehicle privilege tax, basically an annual fee, $36 per vehicle. It was supposed to help fund some downtown projects in Knoxville. The logic drivers, especially those rolling in every day from neighboring counties, use the roads infrastructure. yada, yada. On the flip side, Commissioner Larson J. has recently proposed to phase out the wheel tax by 2028. His reasoning is that Knoxville has grown leaps and bounds. Sales tax revenue is booming. He argues that the extra funds can come from the general fund. No service cuts, just shifting the bill. And dropping the wheel tax would make the county more competitive, especially helpful for auto dealers, since 6 of the 8 surrounding counties don't even have it. And my thought is, okay, it's $36 it's $36 a year, which is just, it's not a lot of money in terms of what else I'm spending toward taxes, towards sales tax, towards property tax, towards whatever. $36 is sort of a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
And
That's like 3 coffees.
why are we right? Why seriously, especially if you tip?
I don't drink coffee.
Well, you don't drink coffee. But I'm thinking, why would we give it back? I mean, why would you want to, as a commission, why would you want to give the money back? Why do we not use it for its intended purpose to potentially put in sidewalks, to potentially help the city's issue with filling some of the potholes?
Oh my God, please.
I mean, there are, it's like, I don't know what potholes are they fixing, because
This is not the ones I'm hitting every day.
I've still hit the same one on Western Avenue.
Well, now they're even creating potholes by repaving and repaving and repaving and repaving and not lifting the manholes with it. And so the manholes have
Yes.
become potholes where it's a big twist on the torque on the car as it goes over. It's just not good. We're just not real smart about our roads here.
No.
Yeah, it's a side effect of not being real smart at our schools here. The rest of it goes downhill when that goes downhill. 47th in the country.
47 in the country for schools.
47th best school in the country. 47th.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, the facts speak for themselves.
I've been exploring a lot of that information while I have access to it, and it has been quite eye-opening as we watch what our state decisions are doing and what our federal decisions are doing, and how they affect us on a day-to-day basis.
With the voucher system.
All of it.
Yeah.
Just everything that's being done.
Continuing to fund private schools and things like that, taking money away from public schools, redirecting it toward.
Well, the private schools were already being funded. Now they're being funded with my tax dollars, but I don't get the benefit of that. So I don't know.
Those are the sorts of things you could talk about on your Substack.
Yeah. I don't need to put any more vile anger into the world. There's plenty of it out there. I'm just an echo chamber. I was trying to find something that I had looked up, and I'm not finding it.
What were you looking for?
Some stats that I'd collected.
Okay. The other thing that occurred to me that we were talking about when you were talking about heat exhaustion, 4 or 5 hour canoe ride, kayak.
Yeah.
What's the difference between kayak and canoe? I don't know.
A kayak is usually one person. A canoe is usually 2 people or more.
Oh, really?
Usually.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I mean, I'm not an expert.
Heat exhaustion. Do you find yourself as you're increasing in age?
What kind of question is that? What does that have to do with anything, JJ? I'm 45 years old and I'm fit and fiddle. I'm fine.
I get dizzy spells these days. And it's not
That's
just
the drugs.
darn it.
It'll happen every time. You'll get the spins and the trails and the. It sounds like you're in the urban wilderness down here with the spins and the twirls. No, it's drugs.
It's drugs. That's hilarious.
Sorry, I've made jokes like this since I was a little kid, and my family was like far out fundamental evangelical, and my mom would play along, which was just hilarious because she's a church lady. And I would say, "Mom," like when the cat got the zoomies, "Mom, the cat got into your cocaine in the closet again. And she would, somewhere in the house, oh no. My mom did not have anything illicit in the closet. Nothing. It's just twisted family humor, I guess.
That's hilarious. Where were you raised?
Here,
Okay.
Blount County.
Where'd you go to school?
I was homeschooled kindergarten through 6th grade.
Okay.
And then I begged 5th and 6th grade to go to public school because I wanted friends. I had friends. I mean, I had like 10 kids my age in the neighborhood, and I had probably 15 or 20 kids my age at church, and I played soccer, and so those were all guys about my age going to school together where I would have gone to school if I had been in public school. And I had plenty of outlets. We had our homeschool group, and we got together probably like once a month for the parents to discuss teaching problems and things that they're trying to figure out, and the kids would all just play. I mean, I had plenty of social life. I needed more. And I begged and begged and begged. And since I had never been to public school, they decided to give me 2 years to adjust before high school. So I had 7th and 8th grade, and I went to Maryville, middle school and high school.
And how was it?
It was all right. Everybody thinks it's a rich, snobby school, and it's not. It's just that everybody is either drunk or stoned, that they don't recognize people or notice people, or they're not being rude. They're just messed up. And that was really, really, really common. We used to have a drive-through where we could go buy cigarettes and beer without our IDs being checked.
Oh, gosh.
That existed when I was in high school. There was more than one place you could drive through and buy cigarettes, and they didn't ID. So, of course, that's what we did.
Because why not? Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So it turns out I'm the bad influence that everybody's parents warned them about.
That's funny.
I was the first one to say, hey, I think I want to smoke cigarettes. You want to come do it with me? And we went and did it in the school, in the bathroom at the park down the street from the school. Early in the morning, I'd have my parents drop me off at school for geometry tutoring. I didn't need geometry tutoring, but I did smoke in the girls' bathroom at the park. Or hey, I think I'm gonna try drinking. Do you want to do it with me? No? Okay, cool. I'm gonna go do it by myself. I mean, I didn't do it by myself, but I was the bad influence. I was the one with all the bad ideas.
I had friends that would bring vodka and OJ in their little cups to school.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, it was probably happening at my school. I just didn't know anybody personally doing it.
I don't remember.
I didn't do any of that at school.
Right.
No, at school, I made really good grades and was on the honor roll and in honors classes. And
I can see that.
yeah, little Miss Overachiever.
Well, and then you went on to UT. You got 2 degrees from UT, both in the College of Social Work, undergrad and master's?
No, undergrad is psychology and sociology. So those are 2 different colleges. And then my master's is in clinical mental health counseling, which is in the College of Education. So that's technically a 3rd college.
Oh, okay. Not in social work.
Not in social work.
Okay.
Clinical mental health counseling makes me a therapist.
Okay.
That's all it makes me.
What is your designation?
I'm a licensed professional counselor
Okay.
/ mental health service provider, which is an additional credential to be able to diagnose
Got you. Okay.
without being under supervision.
What is and how is that different or better or whatever than like a licensed clinical social worker or like some of the other designations?
Okay. So a psychologist has a PhD. They can't call themselves a psychologist until they have a PhD. They can get a master's, but they cannot call themselves a psychologist until they have a PhD. And they really focus on research and assessments and testing and really using concrete data to try to determine what's going on.
Okay.
There's a huge growth in the direction there has been. I don't know if there will get to be any more, but a huge shift in attention to neuropsych. That's where all the new groundbreaking is happening. And that psychologists are generally leading that. Social workers, that degree is more of an umbrella that covers a lot of different things. So they can either be in clinical or they can be they can be caseworkers, they can be DCS workers, they can do a lot of different things. There's a lot of opportunity depending on which
The track you
direction
kinda take.
they chose and which classes they took, right?
Okay.
So a psychologist can be a therapist and a social worker can be a therapist, but an LPC is nothing but a therapist.
Okay. Can you prescribe medication?
No, only doctors can prescribe. So no psychologists prescribe and no social workers prescribe and no.
That would be a psychiatrist
Right.
that has got
They went to med school,
med
and they got all the med school information that your general practitioner has, and then they majored, so to speak, in mental health medication or psychotropic medication.
Okay.
And so they are specialists at that medication. That is, I mean, they can do general doctor stuff, but they really, really, really know. Like your dentist really, really, really knows teeth, and your podiatrist really, really knows feet, and your cardiologist really, really knows hearts.
But because you have the ability as what is it called? LPC?
LPC.
As an LPC, you have the ability to diagnose, and therefore you can make recommendations about what prescriptions they might need, or
No, I stay
not
in
even
my lane.
recommendations. But you can diagnose, and with a diagnosis, then that patient could go see a psychiatrist.
No, a psychiatrist diagnoses themselves. I diagnose for myself. I'm not taking somebody else's word for it. The point of talk therapy is to heal what's causing the symptoms.
Okay.
The point of any medication is to mask the symptoms, to make it manageable, to make them go away, to make it stop being a problem. But that's not going to happen if there's an underlying cause that's not being addressed.
You don't think in certain cases there's like both could be true? Like,
Well, they are.
Talk therapy is helpful, and
Well, what we
certain
know-
things or chemical imbalances or like schizophrenia or
Chemical imbalances is a myth from a pharmaceutical company in the 60s who had a pill and they needed to market it. That's 100% bullshit. It does, mental health disorders do involve chemicals, but like depression, we don't know what causes it. So we don't know how to stop it. We know that some drugs will help and some drugs won't for one person, and they'll be totally different for the next person. And so there is actually a website, if I can
I was
pull this
reading
up.
I was reading that book while you're pulling that up. I was reading that book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, yeah.
And it was talking about, in the early chapters, it was talking about the DSM-3.
Okay, we're on the DSM-5 now.
Oh, okay. And so essentially that's what? Like that's the...
That is the diagnostical statistical manual that is used by doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, social workers, and counselors. The codes correspond to ICD codes, which is international health codes
Okay.
of what diagnoses are. And so sometimes the ICD will have a code because you're divorced. And there's just a code in the chart for that. And then that's something that you're dealing with that's affecting you in a negative way. So we have F codes in the DSM. And a lot of times they line up, but they don't always, I think.
Like, so for certain diagnoses, so bipolar disorder or depression or anxiety, or is it, and then you take that diagnosis and potentially...
Well, as
What?
a therapist, we're going to talk about it because this is talk therapy. If there's trauma, we're not going to talk about it as much. We're going to go more into, I'm certified in EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, which really isn't about eye movement. It's about bilateral stimulation. So bilateral stimulation means when you move the left side of your body, it's using the right side of your brain. And when you move the right side of your body, it's using the left side of your brain. So bilateral stimulation is moving both sides of your body to engage both sides of your brain. And it becomes kind of this funnel cloud of coming down and going back and forth from left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, where at the bottom, it isn't a problem anymore because we've desensitized to it from exposure.
Oh,
But the
Interesting.
exposure is not you telling me your story.
Okay.
It is you noticing what your mind is telling you.
And there are, okay, and I want to get back to that. What other sorts of, okay, so the therapist that I was seeing for a long time, I want to say she specialized in cognitive
Behavioral therapy.
behavioral therapy,
CBT.
which means what?
Cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive means thought.
Thinking about your behaviors, thinking about what you're doing, or thinking about your action, thinking about how your actions are impacting your.
How you think about it decides how you behave
Okay.
and how you feel. So you have a thought, then you have a feeling, and then you have a behavior. Sometimes you can have a feeling and then a thought and then a behavior. They can switch places like that, but usually your thoughts are in control, which is why we've heard so many cliches like, manifest this with your will. This is putting that energy out into the universe, but it is also setting your mind and making choices that are going to take you closer to that goal. So you're thinking about it in terms of filtering out what's not going to get me closer to this goal.
Okay. What other sorts of therapy are there?
There's DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy. There is motivational interviewing. I actually use orientation to approach to therapy from reality therapy, which revolves around the concept, William Glasser's concept, you're not in control of or responsible for what has happened to you or around you, but you are in control and responsible for how you choose to allow that to affect you. That's your thoughts and feelings. And how you choose to respond. That's your behavior. And not making a choice is still a choice.
That's right.
That's when you let other people push your buttons, but you still have to deal with the consequence. And so that's kind of my approach to therapy. He didn't put a lot of emphasis on emotions, and I think they're more relevant than he gave them credit for. And so I do a little bit more emotion work, increasing emotional intelligence. Our society doesn't have a language. We've oversimplified all emotions down to happy, mad, sad, scared. And so that's like saying the rainbow is red, blue, and yellow. There's a lot of variation between, a lot of different shades of intensities of color. Same thing with our emotions. There's lots of different shades and varying intensities of what we're feeling. And so having the right word to label it is important, because if you call it the wrong thing, you can complicate it and make things worse. So it's kind of like Rumpelstiltskin. When you say its name, you take its power away.
Right.
So we're working on, with every session, with every client, always working on increasing self-awareness and emotional intelligence by broadening the vocabulary, practicing identifying what we're feeling and where we feel that in the body. Because we experience logic and language is left brain, but creativity and our emotions are right brain, and we feel our emotions through our bodies. That's why little kids say, they won't say, I'm really stressed out about this spelling test. I don't think that I'm adequate, and I'm afraid of disappointing my parents. That's not how a kid talks.
No.
The kid says, my stomach aches. Can I not go to school?
Right.
Right? Because that's the only language that they have to explain why they feel bad, and they know it's school, and so they don't want to go where it makes them feel bad. Or I have a headache. My head hurts. Well, that might be stress. That might be anxiety. So there are lots of different ways that shows up in kids. And coming back to what we were talking about earlier, there is a website called GeneSight, GeneSight, that is a medical organization that receives your DNA sample from your doctor. And so it is held like a medical record. It is private and
Private under
confidential.
HIPAA.
Protected information, health information. And they use the DNA results to inform your healthcare provider about how you may break down or respond to certain medications commonly prescribed to treat depression, anxiety, ADHD, and other psychiatric conditions. So the provider has to order the test kit or a nurse practitioner, and then the test is just a simple cheek swab in the healthcare provider's office, and then it's sent by the healthcare provider It does say it can be taken in the convenience of your home, which we all have practice swabbing. We're pretty good at it now. I'd probably trust myself with it. But it takes insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's $330 or less. So it is possible that that there is a reduced self-pay cost for that. So that's a way to find out to this is not 23andMe. This is not some commercial program where
your DNA is going to be sold to the government or to private,
whoever ends up
big
buying
pharma,
that organization
like
when
I
it
don't
collapses.
know, whomever.
Right. Like 23andMe just collapsed, and now I think that's the one that just collapsed. And now who owns all that DNA? Who owns all of the rights to all of that information? Who's protecting that?
Right.
And according to ethics, they are required to keep those records for no less than 7 years. So where is it and what's being done with it in the meantime?
Right.
They're not supposed to be selling it. They said they weren't going to. They were just collecting data. It's run by the Mormon Church. They've been collecting records for millennia. But this website or this gene site offers us an opportunity to know in advance which medications are most likely to work, which medications are least likely to work, and which medications fall in the middle, and we can find out.
That's especially helpful.
Instead of just shooting in the dark like we are now.
It does still feel like it feels like a shot in the dark.
We throw a common antidepressant at somebody, and they have to be on it for 4 to 12 weeks before
it even
there's any
is
change.
Right.
And if it's not the right medication, there won't even be a change. So then they got to go to a different medication, usually targeting a different chemical, and then take that for 4 to 12 weeks and see what works. And if it doesn't, then they come back and try a different medication that probably targets a different chemical. And it's really just back and forth. Medication, what we've learned from research, medication is not as effective on its own as it is paired with talk therapy.
Okay.
However, talk therapy is just as effective without medication. Talk therapy is what heals. Medication is just what manages until you heal. But if you're not doing the work to heal, you're not changing anything.
And
what you don't change, what you're not changing, you're choosing.
As a therapist, how do you measure your success? Or do you how do you measure? I did a good job. I'm doing a great job.
I feel that every single day. Every single day. There is someone who is moved by our work and a change happens. And every single time I see a change, I win. It's their change. They're the real winners. But I feel like I've done what I'm supposed to do. My very first client when I was in practicum in undergrad or in grad school, I was at one of the school's student counseling centers, one of the colleges, and my very first client walked in and was actively suicidal, and that's where I started.
Oh,
hit the ground running. I actually have a lot of experience with that. I've attempted to end my life twice, 25 and 26 years ago, which is why I became a therapist, because a therapist saved my life. And so I knew immediately how to meet this girl where she was. And we took all of our procedures. We followed all of our steps. We did everything we know to keep her safe. And we were able to let her walk out the door safely. She wouldn't be alive if I had not been there. If therapy, it's not me that healed her, it's therapy that healed her, that helped her from that low. So it's not really about me, it's about therapy. I'm not the Wizard of Oz, and clients are Dorothy. The Wizard of Oz is therapy. I'm Glinda telling Dorothy she actually has all the power with her all along. I can teach you how to use it.
Yes.
But you already have what you need to know. So I'm not an expert on my clients. I don't know them. I mean, I get to know them over a lot of time. I get to know a whole lot about them. But especially early on, I'm not the expert on them. I don't know them. They're the expert on them. No one spends more time with them, waking or sleeping, than them. More than parents, more than siblings, more than anybody, more than spouse, more than kids. And so I approach therapy from a collaboration perspective or goal that they need to be the expert on them, and I'm the expert on the theories and the techniques and the exercises and the maneuvers that we can use. And we have to work together like peanut butter and jelly to get our best outcome. So it's very collaborative. I don't make decisions. I'm not an authority figure. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm not their real mom. I'm just helping them. I'm asking the questions that help guide them to the answers, their own answers. I can't give them the answer because my answer isn't necessarily their answer.
I think it's also a powerful feeling as from the perspective of having been a patient of a therapist.
Well, you were a patient if you were in a hospital.
Well,
If you're not in a hospital, you're a client.
a client. Okay. And that was another thought I had. How I feel like some folks, I feel like everybody could be as helped by therapy as they could by a massage. But if you don't, but it's like, I feel like people look at therapy sometimes like it's massage or,
Frou-frou.
waxing or, like, well,
It's treated that way by a lot of people.
If I had the money, I would
Right.
do it.
Right.
Well, but there are quite a few insurance plans that do cover some amount of or some certain number of visits.
Almost all. I can't think of one that doesn't.
Or even, I mean, employer, that sort of thing is, what's it called?
EAP.
EAP. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I think it's an awesome feeling having been to therapy and having been to therapy for multiple years when it does start working, when you do the work, and the work is hard because it's work on yourself. And we all
Facing
have this
things you don't want to face. It's
Right.
saying the things out loud that you've already been saying over and over inside your head. And it's there. That message is there. But if you don't say it out loud, it's not real.
right.
That's what a lot of people think.
And my friend Ryan always calls it the skip in my record, or the skip in our record, or whatever. It's like those things that we go around the same, it's like insanity doing the same thing over and
The
over again,
hiccup in our
expecting.
function.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
doing so a lot.
but when you do the work and you say the thing, or you create the boundary in the relationship that you talked about with your therapist, and then you get the result that you've been hoping for, it's like, oh my God.
It's my job to work myself out of a job so that you don't need me anymore. That's
It's
when I know I've done a
awesome.
good job. When someone leaves, I've had more than one person say, my family wanted to thank you because I wouldn't be alive if you hadn't been here. I wouldn't have made it through that day. I've heard that many times, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I hope no one ever feels that way. I know what that dark despair is like, and I don't want anybody else to know that. So I'm sad that people do, but I'm happy to be there and to join them in that misery, to sit beside them in that misery, to be okay with them in that misery, and to get up and walk out of that misery. And that's a process. It's a simple analogy, but it's really a complicated process. And so I'm willing to do that. I want to be in the storm with you. I don't want to be standing outside the storm saying, hey, when you get over here, I'll help. I want to come right into the middle of it with you so that you're not alone. And then we'll figure it out together. You don't have to figure it out by yourself anymore.
That's powerful. Do you have a therapist now?
Of course. Most therapists
have therapists
because we all need therapists.
And how do you hear all of this stuff from your clients, all of their struggles and their trials and tribulations, and not let it soak in or add to your own struggles and trials and tribulations? Because you all and then talk about some of your struggles right now and what you're dealing with. I mean, you have a lot of grief, I'm sure, that you're still
Complicated grief, PTSD, generalized anxiety, major depressive disorder. That's all for now. Those are my diagnoses. And I've been diagnosed with depression and anxiety since I was 19,
Okay.
at my first attempt of ending my life, and then picked up the complicated grief and the PTSD when my husband was killed in a car accident 4.5 years ago. And that's just been weird and hard because before that even happened, I'm a grief, loss, and trauma certified therapist. That was already my specialty and what I do. And so then going through it in such a magnified way, such a big, close, it wasn't just death that I was dealing with. It was the death of my twin flame, my partner, the person that I'm supposed to be with for eternity, not till death parts us, for eternity. And that got yanked away. And grief is not stages, like you go from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to stage 4, and then you're done and you don't have grief anymore. Woo!
Yeah, it's not a 12-step.
No. It is not take these steps or stages and get out of it. It is, you're going to live in grief for the rest of your life because what you're grieving is never coming back. And part of that is going to express itself as depression. Part of that is going to express itself as anger. Part of that is going to express itself as acceptance. Part of that's going to be more bargaining. Like, I've had the thought, well, maybe Jeff got picked up and put into secret, what do they put, witness protection program because somebody bad was coming after him for testifying. That would be awesome if he wasn't dead. But there is no reality in which he would be alive that I would not be with him. So that bargain, not making up of a false story that isn't real and never was real, and I know that, but my brain wants to make up some reason. And a lot of times when I'm at home, my brain pretends that he's just at work. He'll be home later. And part of the trauma is every cell of my being constantly looking for him to walk in the door. It looks for him in every face, in every crowd, looks for him in all the music. I mean, in every concert I go to, in every plane ride I've ever been on. I mean, like, everything about me is always looking for him, and that's a trauma that I can't shake. So it's really, really complicated. It also really affected my relationship with music. Music's been my best friend since I was 3 years old. And it was what Jeff and I first clicked on. We had a 10-minute conversation about Star Wars and the Beatles, and it was pretty much over right there.
Was that a half barrel?
Dragged it out, yeah. Bought it for 6 months and then let it be what it is. And it became the best thing that could have ever happened to either one of us. And so we had a band. We had 3 Mile Smile, and we wrote together, and he usually wrote the music and I usually wrote the lyrics, and we did not work well together. Despite making some really great music, we yelled and bickered and argued quite a lot, particularly about songwriting. But other than that, we never fought, ever. I mean, we just didn't. We maybe had one good real fight a year, and I don't mean anything physical, but about once a year we'd have a real argument about principle. And but when we were songwriting, it was usually tense. So, and we'd be trying to write different songs, and I'm like, it can be this or that. It can be anything when you're writing it and making it up. We have to agree on what it is and do it on purpose. We have to decide which it's going to be. So then even our third album was released 4 days before he was killed. And we had not finished recording our fourth album, which ended up being our final album. And I had to finish recording that after he passed away, which really sucked, including final vocals on a song about our wedding called Waiting for May that I had not listened to in 4.5 years until a week or two ago. I played it. It's got gut-wrenching. It's a pretty song. So after losing him, I couldn't listen to music for about 6 months. And I didn't touch my ukulele or play music. I played for his birthday.
That's right.
I did that. And then after that, I didn't touch my ukulele. I didn't even play my ukulele.
Was that at the Corner Lounge?
It was, outside.
That show?
In 2021. Mm-hmm. We did a memorial birthday and album release. And I just lost my train of thought. That happens all the time. I had a real hard time coming back to music because a big part of me was afraid that I didn't have any talent, that it was all him, that everything good that we ever made was because he was incredible, and he really was. I mean, that's not putting him up on a pedestal. That's acknowledging I'm not going to call him a genius, and I'm not going to call him a master at what he did, but I don't know anybody that loves what they do more than he loved his role in our band as our band leader and the PR and the manager and the the booking agent, and he was everything wrapped into one, and he was really, really good at it because he started doing it when he was 15 years old. And he'd had decades of experience doing this, and grew with the changing environment from having to mail posters and cassette tapes to places to get booked, and staple and flyers and posters to telephone poles, to email and social media, and all the things that we use now that make it so much easier for a musician to push their art.
I had just received the CD and stickers.
We had just done an interview, you and I.
Yeah.
Jeff was at work and couldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And he died on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so that would have been a Tuesday? Would have been the night
it would have been
before?
Locals Only Tuesday.
Wow. Was it the night before or was it the week before?
I think it was the week before.
Okay.
I think it was the week before.
That's all a blur to me.
And I had just gotten the CD and stickers in the mail and had it laying on my desk at home.
Yep. He was the master at getting that out to everybody.
He was
so good. I just said I'm not going to call him master.
It was so, I know, but
that was a running joke in our relationship because I told him when I graduated with my master's degree that he had to call me master, and it made even my hat said, now you call me master. And he said, I will never call you master. I was like, well, I'm never calling you master, dude. Nobody's my master. I'm my master.
That's right.
and then every once in a while he would be like, you're the master. And I'm like, yes, I knew it. Thank you. You caved. Awesome. It was just a running joke. It was just silly for the sake of silly, which was the majority of our relationship.
That's cute.
It was nonsense.
But yeah, it's just a very gregarious soul, very just, and so excited and passionate about the music. And
I pushed him over the top too into the nonsense.
Yeah. Because you're not a coffee drinker. You don't drink tea.
I drink hot tea.
Do you drink hot tea?
Caffeine free.
Caffeine free.
Yeah.
Because you were born with a caffeinated personality.
I was born a spaz. And my psychiatrist has recently floated the idea that when we ruled out ADHD, maybe that was wrong.
That's funny.
And I'm like, okay, now I'm 45 and we're figuring this out, and I'm the therapist and I know how to diagnose, and I didn't see that coming. But I wasn't allowed to have caffeine or sugar in like the first 10 years of my life, and then I went balls to the wall from 10 to 21, and then I took myself off caffeine because I annoyed myself on caffeine. No joke. Seriously, I'm like, something's got to give. This has got to go away. This is not good for me. I don't like this. So yeah, I've been off. I'm 45 now. I've been off caffeine for 24 years.
Good for
no
you.
stimulants or anything like that.
Okay,
I'm just a spaz.
24 years. You said you tried to take your own life 20
when I was 19 and when I was 20. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was that happens a lot at that age because it's a major life transition from adolescence into adulthood, and often into being shoved out of the nest into independence. And I was kicked out of my house when I was 19. And some of that was bad choices that I was making and bad people that I was choosing to surround myself with who were not good for me. I was good for them because I am a good time. I'm a lot of fun. I'm a hoot to be with. There's going to be lots of laughter and maybe a little bit of peeing pants. But but they weren't good for me. They weren't people who were there for me when I really needed it. They weren't people who added more to my life than they took. And I can see that now, but at the time when I was in the middle of it, I couldn't see it. And those are my friends, and those are the people I wanted to be with. And they did help me. They did come to the hospital after that. They actually busted into my apartment and caught me and stopped me and sent me to the hospital, and then came to see me in the hospital. So they weren't just a bunch of dope snot not really caring about what's actually happening to me. But they were also making bad decisions and surrounded by people who were not good for them. So they weren't making the best decisions either. And we were using drugs and we were drinking and we were, all the things that, that I feel like is pretty typical for a 19-year-old.
Right.
And that was the first time that I really recognized depression, but I didn't recognize that it was depression. I just recognized something was different, something was wrong, something had changed, something was not okay. And it was that attempt and getting caught that put me into therapy. And then I did therapy for a few months and then had to quit for financial reasons, which is unfortunately common.
Mm-hmm.
And a year later, same month, I did the exact same thing again. And a different friend, I called. I was calling different people trying to connect with somebody because I knew that if I got home and didn't have somebody to talk to, I knew what I was going to do. And so I was kind of home. I was in school at Pellissippi in Blount County at the time. And the campus was like 3 miles from my house. So I drove home trying to call anybody that would answer, and nobody answered. And so I went home and I did that. And then one of the people that I called me back and I didn't answer, and then showed up at my house and I didn't answer. I started throwing rocks at my window and I didn't answer, and screamed at me, "If you don't come out here right now, I'm going to break your window and climb in. Like, I'm coming after you. You're not getting away with this. You're not doing this." And her mom happened to be a nurse at the hospital that she was able to tip off and get the ER ready for me, and had to go through all that over again. And then I worked with Dr. David Bender, who is a psychologist in Maryville and happens to be the dad of a guy I played soccer with in high school. He was on the boys team and I was on the girls team, and had lots of mutual friends. But David had never met me. And so he became my therapist, and his office was across the street from the bank that I worked at in downtown Maryville, and I would just walk over for lunch every day. And he was usually coming from the hospital from making rounds, and he would bring me lunch from the cafeteria, us both lunch from the cafeteria, and never charged me for that. But he knew that I might not eat lunch if he didn't do that, and so he did that. And he was incredible. We made a lot of progress, and he bought me time for my way of thinking to shift. He gave me things to ponder and consider that would slow me down in a rash decision so that I wouldn't follow through on it. And in the time that I wasn't killing myself, I was learning how to live with myself. And that was really hard to do. A lot of childhood abuse, emotional childhood abuse, and I've experienced physical abuse, I've experienced sexual abuse, I've experienced financial abuse. And all that was there before I lost my husband traumatically. I didn't need any more extra trauma, but buddy, I sure got it. So now
How do you reconcile it?
you can't. There is no justification. There is no answer that will ever satisfy me. There is no reframing it into something that I can be okay with. I'm never going to be okay with it. I'm kind of stuck in the anger part of grief, and I've been there for 4.5 years, just boiling over angry. And it's kind of funny. Jeff and I are not violent people, but when he would be having a bad day and we'd be out in public or something and somebody was being a jerk, he would say, please pick a fight with me so that I have an excuse to get this out. I need somebody to give me a good outlet so that so I don't take it out on somebody innocent. He never did. He never did take it out on anybody. He told me in our 14 years together that I should be afraid of him being so angry he's crying, that if I ever see that, I need to get away from him. And I never saw that in 14 years. And I saw him in his lowest and his highest and his brightest and his darkest, and that wasn't who he was. That may have been who he had been pushed to be when he was younger, but that is not who he was. And he was a really good man. He had been a not great guy earlier in his life, kind of like I had been a not great woman earlier in my life. And so when we found each other, it was, I think we were both soothing to each other's nervous systems. I know I called him my pacifier because he just skin to skin contact.
Just calmed you down.
He could just put his foot on my leg.
Yeah.
And it would just, like osmosis, it would just leave me. Like he just sucked it out. And he didn't absorb it. He just released it. He did it. So then it was just gone and we got to have fun. And that was the majority of the relationship.
When was his birthday?
August 7th. He would have been 58 just a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
So
way too young.
Did you play a show for his birthday this year?
No, we did that for 3 years. And when his people stopped showing up, I stopped doing it. When I realized everybody in the room was just there for me, I was doing it for him and his people.
And you found your way back to music.
And
You've
I
been
found my way back to music, yeah.
You've been writing new material.
I have.
So you've got a solo performance coming up Thursday.
Yep, I'll be at Songs by the Brook in Alcoa in Springbrook Park, which is where we live.
And that's an ongoing... How long has Songs by the Brook been a thing?
A long, long time. Jeff and I played it as 3 Mile Smile 10 years ago.
Okay.
In 2015, right after we got married. And this was not the first year. So I'd say 12 to 15 years. It's been going a minute. And it's run by Phil Eakin and Tommy John Eakin. They coordinate with Parks and Rec to put this on every year.
Who else will be there?
Well, there's different guests different artists every night.
Okay.
And this year there's 3 nights spread out.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
No, spread out different weeks, always on a Thursday.
Okay.
And since I have a radio show on Thursday night at 6, I got
Shayla McDaniel
will
be
to
filling
be
in.
my guest DJ, filling in for me and
I love
helping
that.
me. I know. I'm trying to pull up Songs by the Brook here and give you the information. So last week they had Jordan Burris, Mudbone, and Driftboat Cowboys. And I'm a big fan of Jordan Burris's. And I went to high school with a guy in Driftboat Cowboys. So then that was on August 7th. And I had been offered that date, but I didn't think that I wanted to hold space for it to not be an okay day because it being Jeff's birthday.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I made the choice that I did.
That's good.
And then this next concert is on the 21st, this coming Thursday at 6 o'clock. And it will be me, Becki Grace, and then Cruz Contreras, and then Run Katie Run. And there will be one more on September 4th. And I do not see that lineup. Oh, here it is.
Daniel Kimbrough, Pickers Anonymous, Will Kruger and Friends.
Will Kruger is who used to host the open mic out at the Abbey in Townsend.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I recognize the name.
He's a John Denver tribute band. And he's good at it. He's good at it.
Love John Denver.
Of course.
Love John Denver.
Didn't get enough music out of him either.
No. When you and Cruz and Run Katie Run, that's going to be a great show this Thursday. And it's a free event.
Yep. It grows every year. Bring a blanket or a chair, throw it out. They have a couple of bleachers, small bleachers there for people who don't bring something to sit on, but most people bring their camper chairs or a blanket.
Okay.
And sprawl out in front of the stage, and there's a nice natural incline there for the audience, so it's like stadium seating, but it's just a hill.
That's
it's
cool.
Just a grassy hill under some trees.
That. I love that.
I grew up in this park. My dad grew up in this park. In fact, the house my dad was raised in is across the street on Springbrook Road.
Oh.
And he grew up in going to Springbrook Elementary School, which is now Parks and Rec's gymnasium and pavilion and basketball courts outside. And so they knocked down the main building. But my mom and my dad met at First Baptist Church of Alcoa in that neighborhood. And I grew up playing in the brook, damming it up and breaking it and putting it back together and routing water and trying to make water go somewhere that it didn't want to go, but like forcing it by building stuff up. It was all engineering practice. And my dad supported it. Now I have enough ecological awareness to know that is a terrible destruction of ecosystem that deserves to be left alone as much as I do. So I don't do that anymore. But sometimes I do get in and just lay down. Just to be in the water. And so the stage is set up right in front of where I used to play in the creek, in the brook.
That's very neat.
After my senior prom, my date and I went to, my junior prom, my date and I went to the park and walked around after the prom before he took me home. Just talking. He was one of my good friends, and we had agreed to go with each other because we both wanted to be there with somebody else.
Okay.
And so we would be each other's ticket in, and then we would do whatever we wanted. And then afterwards we came back together and we discussed what we did. We were very proud of ourselves. And then my senior prom with my high school sweetheart, those pictures were taken there in the park. And so a lot of my life is tied up there. This is my first home in that neighborhood. And
It's like a homecoming event.
I mean, it is. I told him, like, I'm really worried. I'll try and be on time. I'm really worried about traffic.
Right.
Because
That right down the road.
one side of the park to the other, because it's literally across the street from my house. I mean, literally, quite literally. I see the basketball court or the tennis courts. So yeah, we've had lots of little jokes about that. But I grew up here. This is my childhood. These are my golden memories. These are my developmental memories. These are my musical memories. Starting singing with my sisters and my mom in church when I was 3, it laid the groundwork for where I am now and who I am now. It's been more constant, it being music, more constant in my life than anything else, any relationship, any other existence. And so I'm really, really, really grateful that I have been able to heal that relationship and to come back to music just between the two of us, and also to reconnect with Jeff, even in the way I'm writing now. And I think this debut album that I'm working on is going to end up being a lot of sad, dark songs, because I haven't written anything like that ever. And I am challenging myself to be really honest, which is really hard, but it's also forcing me to do my work.
Right.
So
you're doing the work, and you're using your creative outlet.
I'm not avoiding it.
Right.
I'm using my super tool to deal with this super problem.
That's right.
So
I like it.
It's been a roller coaster.
I want you to play. Would you play?
Yeah.
One or two of your new songs?
I sure will.
And if you're we'll save that on the other side. I'll re-announce you here. You're listening to Tea Time with J&J. Today's guest is proof that some people just refuse to fit in one box. Becki Grace Livingston writes songs, hosts radio, podcasts with East Tennessee's finest, and still finds time to help folks untangle their brains as a mental health professional. Basically, she's a Swiss Army knife of talent, and we're lucky she brought her whole toolkit with her.
Oh my God. I love it. That's so funny. Thank you. Those are nice things to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend.
It is absolutely true that you can't put me in a box, because I'll kick you in the throat. Don't try and put me in a box.
Don't try and put me in a box. And I'm going to make these other mics hot right now, and then you tell us, what are you going to play?
So this is one of my newer songs that I wrote earlier this year in March. And actually, the chorus came to me in a dream, and it was just playing over and over and over and over and over and over and over in my head, and to the point that I became aware that I was dreaming and writing a song. And so I woke myself up and I recorded the chorus on my phone just so that I could roll over and go back to sleep. And when I woke up, the song was written by 10 a.m. This is called Cruel, Cruel Heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel heart. Somewhere along the way you lost the vision you took for your own possession.
I'll walk away from your aggression. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel heart. You chose against your own interest. You steamrolled right over resistance. How low you'll go is the plot twist. For me, the best thing is now distance. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel heart. Who kicks somebody when they're already down? Why bother with what anyone else is doing? When will we ever learn and then bound? What else have you got brewing? You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel, cruel heart. You got a cruel heart.
Becki Grace Livingston, Cruel, Cruel Heart. I love that.
Thank you. That is unrecorded at this time and so unreleased at this time. But that's one of the newer songs that I've been obsessing over. And I really feel like I'm doing some of my best songwriting of my life right now. And they say that heartache and struggle and suffering is the best inspiration. And that's
Boy,
what I
are
attribute
you-
it to.
Right.
I got all full up on that.
We've got time for another one, and then I've got more questions for you, and then we'll end it with a couple that you've already recorded, and maybe with the Sidewalk Dandelions, or I don't know, we can go out with other music. But
Okay.
you want to play another one?
Okay.
And then pitch it for us.
Pitch it, like tell you what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 6 weeks ago, I was coming home from open mic at Alliance Brewing with Tom Smith on Sevier Avenue, Wednesday nights, 7 to 10. And I met another local honey there, Taryn Dixon, and we met up to just hang out and support each other. And Marcy Pace ended up being there,
Love
and
her.
Chris Marshall was there. It was
Cool.
just a big crowd of well-known people. So
people.
it was a good night to be there. You never know who you're going to run into at any open mic. And so on my way home, I have about a 30-minute drive home because I live in Blount County and I live my life in Knoxville. So everything is a 30-minute drive or an hour round trip. And so I had a 30-minute drive home. And the first line of the first verse and the last line of the chorus came to me. And I knew that they didn't belong together. I knew that it wasn't linear, but those were just two different parts of the song. But I really wanted to remember both of them because I really loved both of those lines. And so I got home and in about an hour and a half pieced together this song and then worked with my ukulele instructor, Greg Horn, to figure out how I wanted the music to support the melody and the lyrics that I came up with. And he has acknowledged, and I agree that I am a vocals first, like that's my instrument, and I just play ukulele to support my being able to sing. And so I have jokingly said for 10 years that I sing and play ukulele very badly, but he's helping me get better.
Shout out Greg Horn.
Absolutely. So coming home from that open mic, I wrote the beginnings of this song, and I did not realize until I got home and finished writing it that it's about the last time I saw my husband alive. It's called Breathless.
Breathless. Okay.
Baby, hang up the phone. Come talk to me. I spent all day alone. I need your peace. Put your hand on mine. Whisper to me. Just let me linger here in your smell so sweet. We're running out of time to make memories. But when you're near to me, you sweep me off my feet. You leave me breathless. Baby, turn off the light. Come lay by me. I missed you all day. Kiss me gently. Put your hand on mine. Whisper to me. Just let me linger here in your smell so sweet. We're running out of time to make memories. But when you're near to me, you sweep me off my feet. You leave me breathless. Baby, now that you're gone, I just can't sleep. This life feels so damn wrong. You took the best part of me. I wish you could put your hand on mine. Whisper to me. Just let me linger here in your smell so sweet. We're running out of time to make memories. But when you're near to me, you sweep me off my feet.
beautiful Becki Grace Livingston on Tea Time with J and J. Thank you for playing live today.
Thank you.
I was tearing up on that one.
Me
just
too.
thinking about what you...
Me too. It's really hard for me to sing. Not because there's anything unresolved about his death, not because anything new has happened or changed, but because this is my reality, and I'm in a timeline that I don't want to be in. I'm living a life that this isn't what I chose, and I still have to deal with it, and that's really hard. I got a big chip on my shoulder about it.
You've done, and I see you doing the work. We've talked about you doing the work, but I see you doing the work of finding joy in your life, and you have filled up your time with so many things that I wonder, is that like a coping mechanism?
Absolutely. Joy is defiance. I'm salty and defiant and not at all compliant. Not sugar and spice and everything nice. I'm not nice. I'll be kind. I'll be good, but I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to be taken advantage of. I'm not going to be passive. I'm not going to be walked on, and I'm going to still help people around me. But I don't want to be nice. That's inauthentic. I don't want to be nice. I don't play nice. I want to live and play real.
You've traveled quite a bit since Jeff has passed. You got more trips planned?
Not right now. Not right now. With the world being as unstable as it is, I don't feel like I can make any long-term decisions. And so I'm just trying to survive right now.
True that.
It's just trying to get by with the what I will always refer to it as is the billionaire bribe bill. Took away a third of my income. May shut down this station if we don't get enough donations and support and advertising and the things that we need after the Corporation for Public Broadcasting shuttered its doors as a result of having funding cuts. And so that I've lost
funding that was promised, that was already promised, by the way.
Funding that was already paid, they took back. They didn't just stop what was approved for the future. They demanded repayment for what the last administration paid, has already paid money in our bank. And this administration took that money back out of the hands of people who were using it to do good. So one of my contracts is with the Metro Drug Coalition. I've been doing trauma therapy with women who are formerly homeless and currently in recovery. They took the funding for me to be able to do that away before the end of the grant. It ended the end of July, and they took the money back before that. Just crippling, really important work that's being done. And the Mental Health Association of East Tennessee is also a grant-funded program for people who are uninsured or can't afford their copays to get a limited number of sessions. And so I work with them as well, and I haven't heard from them how this affects them as far as grants go, because not all grants are federal grants. There are state grants and there are private foundation grants. And so I don't know what the sources of those incomes are, the sources of those grants are, but a lot is up in the air. A lot is really, 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 really scary. And
it does seem, especially with what we've seen from Washington, D.C. and
in 200 days, baby.
Yeah. California. And absolutely. Inside of 8 months.
Right.
It does seem massively counterintuitive to take funding away from programs that help the people that you're claiming to want to help.
Well, it depends on what the agenda is.
The homeless population in
D.C.
He
never said he'd help the homeless.
Right. He just wants them off the streets.
Yeah, and he doesn't care what happens to them. They're just ugly. He just hates everything that's ugly. I don't know how he looks in the mirror every day. Obviously, he doesn't, or he'd see that hair in that face. The almost black face that he's got going on. I mean, seriously, some of the pictures, I'm like, oh my God, it looks like blackface. Oh my God, why is nobody saying anything about that? Oh my God. So yes, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of change. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of truly tragic things that are unnecessarily being done. And everybody knows it. We see online, everybody says the cruelty is the point. The suffering is the agenda. That's what he wants. That's what they want. Because this is not about one man. This is about a collective. This is a cabal. one person could not make this happen, and he's not smart enough to do any of this on his own.
Right.
This is a collective regime. And so they want us to feel desperate. They want us to feel overwhelmed. They want us to feel desensitized so that we no longer have the outrage and put with that action to stand up to them. And I'm part of a book club online with some people that I've never met here in town, that we have mutual friends and mutual interests. And this book was recommended. It's the People's History of the United States. And it's going into the true stories of history, kind of like lies my teacher told me, where it goes into what actually happened in history. And what has been attempted to be erased, which is usually women and minorities, anybody that's not a white man. And there is a section of the book here that's relevant. And this was talking about Columbus, Native Americans, and human progress. And this says, Cortez then began his march of death from town to town using deception, turning Aztec against Aztec, killing with the kind of deliberateness that accompanies a strategy to paralyze the will of the population by a sudden, frightful deed. That is exactly what is being done now 500 years later, 600 years later. We're doing the exact same thing. We have someone who is going from town to town, LA to DC, using deception, lies is what we call those, turning Aztec against Aztec, American against American, by telling us that people who are off-white are a threat to us and our blood. Like, ew, why are you so concerned with blood? I mean, like, you'd think he'd be worried about his own genes that he's passed on. That's really sad. Killing with the kind of deliberateness that accompanies a strategy. There is absolutely a malicious strategy at this, and it is to paralyze the will of the population by a sudden, frightful deed.
Right.
If he scares us bad enough, quick enough, we won't be able to recover. We won't be able to fight back. And another section from the book, but the easy acceptance of atrocities as a deplorable but necessary price to pay for progress. Hiroshima, Vietnam, to save Western civilization. Kronstadt and Hungary to save socialism, nuclear proliferation to save us all. That is still with us. The easy acceptance of atrocities is still with us. We're watching genocide happen in real time and doing jack about it. We're watching people violate the UN agreement of all the countries in the world to not invade each other and fight each other. And we're watching that happen in real time.
And since the beginning of civilization, countries, communities, people have been warring. I mean, this has been going on. This sort of the lies, the manipulation, it's
the last resort of those who don't have the intelligence to negotiate and communicate.
But countries much older than America have been warring and using these same sorts of tactics for thousands of years.
The bad guys have a playbook, and now we are playing by that playbook.
And so,
as a country, not as a people, this is not being done by the people. It
goes back to school. I mean, I learned so much. My eyes were wide opened when I took Western Civilization parts 1 and 2, different semesters at different colleges. But I see it. I mean, I see the parallels to history. History is repeating itself.
Absolutely, step by step, like it's an instruction booklet.
And to see people so closed off to that notion, or to what is happening around us is, I don't know. I don't know how to fix it.
Well, half of our population is either too dumb or lazy to pay attention. That has been done intentionally over the last 75 years by every step that has been taken to weaken the public school system nationally. So dumb people are easy to control. They're easy to fool. They're easy to manipulate because they'll fall for anything. They don't have the critical thinking skills to challenge it. So when half of our population doesn't vote because they don't care, because they don't know what's going on. They couldn't tell you the name of a single president. They can't name a state.
Right.
They don't know the difference
Uneducated.
between cities and states. Right. This is poorly educated.
Poorly educated.
And these are half of the U.S. population graduates high school but can only read at an 8th grade level. That's an example of education being broken down over decades. So they've successfully, the agenda has been to successfully dumb us down so that we are too dumb to fight back. And
to ask questions, to challenge the notion of what is happening.
Exactly. To say, hey, what you're wanting to do
And
is not
then-
American values. What you're talking about is getting rid of our American values. We like our American values.
And then create other predicaments that we must deal with, financial, health coverage, things like that take our time and our money, that we have no will to fight at the end of the day. We have no time to fight.
Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of federal employees have been fired or laid off.
How can I think of what they're doing in Washington when I can barely put food on the table for my children?
Exactly. That's what they're counting on.
Yeah.
So, to come back to the point of the conversation, joy is defiance. When I don't allow them to make me hopeless, which they do sometimes, when I don't allow them to shut me up, which nobody ever has, when I don't allow them to control the narrative, my narrative of my existence. No, brown people are not a threat to me.
Right.
No, people coming from other countries is not a threat to me. What's a threat to me is billionaire criminals dismantling our government piece by piece and ignoring every small road bump that's put in their way to try to stop them, while no one is enforcing the laws that already make every single step they're taking illegal. We don't have to do anything different except enforce the laws, and we're not doing that. And so I don't think that there is, I think every single Democrat in office needs to be let go, because this happened on their watch.
That's right.
And it happened with them sitting down or
That's right.
laying down. And I will never vote for a single one of them ever again, not one of them, because they didn't do enough. They had one job to defend the
That's right.
Constitution, and they didn't do it.
That's right.
I will never celebrate our military again, because they took oaths to protect our Constitution from threats, domestic and abroad, and they're not doing it. That is not something to celebrate. I will never celebrate Independence Day ever again, because on Independence Day, our independence was taken away from us. So how do I find joy? Well, when the big world that is way too scary gets overwhelming, I have to reel back into my small world and focus on what I can control, on what I can do. I can love my neighbors, whether they're brown or black or yellow or redneck. And I can make music and a joyful noise. I can put art into the world, which is fascinating to me. It seems to be the antidote to fascism. Art. It's one of the first things they go after taking over.
And has historically been.
That's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like, not
Right.
because of what I'm seeing in front of us, but what I've seen in this pattern in history over and over. They always go after art and education first. That tells us that those are the most important parts of our
Right.
communities, right there.
Expression and education.
And this
Self-expression
station
and
is a
education.
huge part of that independent voice that we need to keep on
That's
air.
right.
So you need to go to radiokcm.com and make donations to help us keep this operation going. If you want to hear locals only, if you want to hear the Funhouse, if you want to hear local honey, if you want to hear Tea Time with JJ, if you want to hear Revolution, if you want to hear any of the shows that we have on this station, or even WDVX on the other end of Gay Street,
That's right.
you have to put up your money. And they're counting on us not being able to do that. They're keeping our money that was paying that, and they're giving us nothing for it.
And
That's taxation without representation.
That's exactly it. Becki Grace Livingston, we have just a few minutes left in the show. I appreciate you coming on. We could
Sorry,
talk.
I went political.
No, we
I try
could-
not to, but I'm a political activist.
Well, we could talk for another 2 hours. We could fill another 2 hours of just that. I mean, that's going to be another episode. But I appreciate you coming on today, sharing your time with us. I do want to pitch that we're going to play. I want to play I Need Someone from 3 Mile Small to take us out today. We've got New Revolutions on the other side of the noon hour with our ever multifaceted DJ Sarah. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to tune in to Local Honey Thursdays from 6 to 8, locals only from 8 to 10 Thursdays. But this Thursday, you're going to want to come see Becki Grace live if you're in the area at Springbrook Park in Maryville.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
And I start on time, so be there at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay, got it. And then I'll come see you play, and then I'll come do the radio show.
Yay!
And then also mark your calendars and stay tuned for details on Radio KCM's November 7th, 24-hour live broadcast event
That's gonna be
to
fun.
raise awareness and funding for Radio KCM. During our live coverage, the public can showcase their talents, stories, songs, skits, cooking, dancing, anything y'all love. Participants will ask friends and family to pledge a nominal donation in support of their airtime. Area businesses can sponsor portions of programming as well. All donations are tax deductible and will help nonprofit Knoxville Community Media continue another 50 years and their mission of providing a platform for free thought, expression, and speech through public, educational, and government programming. Stay tuned to radiokcm.com and on socials for more info. And thank you so much for tuning in to Tea Time with J and J. Be sure to check out the episode when we upload it on Spotify and everywhere else you could find your favorite podcast. I'll work on it today so I could have it uploaded tomorrow. Okay. And then we're going out with 3 Mile Smile, I Need Someone. Becki, you wanna pitch a song?
Yeah, I wrote this one on November 12th, 2019, and it is about my experience as both a client and a therapist, and both sides of the conversation. I've experienced this message a lot.
Love, peace, and chicken grease, Knoxville. Thanks so much.